All right, let's talk about this Epstein news. I've said it before. There are so many parts of the American right that just believe in absolutely nothing. And to see after the Justice Department comes out and says, basically, case closed, nothing further to reveal here or even get into, you're now seeing some people who, MAGA operatives, who've been agitating around this theory, whether it's conspiracy or not, but agitating around this idea about the federal government's engaging in a massive corruption scandal, and as soon as the Trump administration gets in there, they're going to right all these wrongs. And then they get in there and then they tell these people that, well, you know what, actually we looked into it and there's nothing there. All right, bye, see you later. And you're watching this pivot happen where they're now saying, well, I mean, what really is the relevance of these files, and who cares? Let's just focus. They believe in nothing. Those kinds of people believe in absolutely nothing. If your worldview had been publicly that you believe that this financier had ties to the world's elite, by the way, bipartisan world's elite, allegedly any number of names that get thrown in there, whether it's true or not, but they get thrown in there with Bill Gates, it gets thrown in there with Bill Clinton, it gets thrown in there obviously with Donald Trump. Jeffrey Epstein saying, by the way, he was Donald Trump's best friend for a decade. They seem to ignore that, and they did ignore that before the election. But the point being is, then they get into places of power, and then Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, and now the Justice Department and Pam Bondi saying, well, there's really no story here. And the MAGA operatives just pivoting to the next thing and saying, yeah, you know what, maybe there's not. How can you believe that a scandal of that proportion, which has animated people for years at this point, talking about a level of corruption that would be earth-shattering, and in fact, promising revelations that would be earth-shattering, only to now say, well, who really cares? Frauds, liars, absolutely people who believe in nothing other than their own tribal identity and the right of their own tribal identity to lord their power over everyone else. That is the only thing they believe in. That is the only thing that they care about. That is the only thing animating their entire existence. These are people that are immune to facts. They are immune to morality. They are immune to shame. They are immune to everything. It is their existence is strictly a function of tribal identity and that tribe of theirs exercising power over everyone else. That's it. That's the ball game. That's what you're dealing with. But that's just the MAGA operative side. The other side of this equation, obviously, is what the hell is the Justice Department talking about here? They release a video purporting to show his jail cell and say, well, look, nothing happened. And there's a minute of footage missing in it. Pam Bondi said that she had Epstein files on her desk and now is saying that there's nothing. Donald Trump to Lex Friedman said he's going to release everything. How about J.D. Vance on Theo Von's show saying that this stuff is going to be released and he can't wait for it? And I could go on down the list. Mark Levin, Senator Blackburn. I could go on down the list of the number of times and number of ways in which all of these people, I mean, to say nothing of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino agitating around this for years and years and years, then they get into power and they give you, they remember that phase 1 binder that they gave to libs of TikTok and DC Drano, these absolute fucking rubes and morons that they gave this to, purporting to be that there was something going to be in there. Most of that was redacted and not new. And then claiming that there was going to be more on the way, and now expecting us to believe that there is nothing. I don't know what the truth is. I have no clue. I do know that the right often invents conspiracy theories and decides that they're real, Pizzagate being a chief example of that. The Comet Ping Pong up on the northwest side of DC, deciding that there was going to be, that there was a sex trafficking thing going on in there. They just decided that that was real, and then everyone rallied around it, and it ended up causing any number of problems because, hello, it was fucking lunatic moron thing to believe. They're very, very prone to conspiratorial thinking, and I understand that, but these are the people that were making media careers out of it. These were people that were making political careers out of it. And then they ascend to the power that the people who voted for them, they sent them there to do those kinds of jobs, to reveal these facts. And then they tell you, oh, actually nothing. So which is it, motherfucker? Which is it? Were you lying back then and going into the new version of Pizzagate in order to just make your political enemies look bad by claiming that there's a massive cover-up? Or are you now the massive cover-up? Because either way, it's absolutely disqualifying to take these people's, and not that I took Pam Bondi or Donald Trump or JD Vance all that seriously, but for anybody hanging on there, what could you possibly be hanging on to at this point? They are frauds. They are liars. They don't believe in anything other than their own power. They'll say whatever they have to get to power. And again, I'm not saying it is a conspiracy theory, but I'm saying these people who have been conspiratorial this whole time, then asking you to walk away, I can't decide if what they found was just so much incriminating evidence. They were like, well, we can't get into that because it's bad for our boss, might be bad for a lot of other people that they care about too or have relationships with, or if it was just a big hoax. Either way, you're not getting out of this. I know that some MAGA operatives, as we indicated, will just turn tail and go the other direction. I understand that. I get that. You're not getting out of this. What I think is probably happening is, one theory is that there was nothing to it, and now they have no place to go. That's one theory. I don't know if that's what I believe, but certainly it's plausible at this point, quite plausible. The other one, the prevailing theory that goes around, and there is some circumstantial evidence to the idea that Jeffrey Epstein might have been connected to Mossad. Now, again, that is circumstantial evidence. There is some level of extra corroboration out there, but none of the evidence has been vetted. So we don't really know. There's really no way to go upon that. But of course, we're not getting any information related to that, are we? We're not getting any clarity related to those matters. We're not getting definitive answer to those matters, are we? Once again, Pam Bondi said she had them on her desk. Where are they, Pam? Where are they? Where are they? You said you had them in your possession. And now the official line, what's the official line? Let me find this. What is the official line here? I think I have it somewhere. Oh yeah, quote, no incriminating client list exists. You sure about that? You sure about that? It is remarkable to me that we are in this place. Not altogether surprising, but certainly remarkable. By the way, I mentioned one of the theories that it could just be a giant hoax that they perpetrated, and now here we are. The other one, of course, is that their boss is intimately connected in there, of course, President Donald Trump, and that there is so much evidence to that effect that they have no other place to go to but to walk away. And by the way, I don't think it would just be him. I would not be surprised at all, in fact, if it was utterly bipartisan across this elite wealthy class of folks who engaged in potentially, all kinds of horrific behavior. Who knows? We don't know. It's not, this is a theory. I don't know the answer to that, but that is another plausible theory as well. Either way, which is it? You're covering for your boss, the president of the United States, or various other elite actors in political and other forms of our society, or you guys are nothing but lie merchants with no place left to turn, and so you just want to pull the plug on it and expect everyone else to walk away. I don't think what happened to Jeffrey Epstein is as important as other broader considerations of things that the government could, government business, like paying attention to, for example, the big, beautiful bill and the disastrous effects it might have are extremely important. These Texas floods and how we're going to fix them, not the floods themselves, but the emergency managed response systems that could be in place and what can be done about those. These are critically important. But to the Epstein situation was not just done as a way to ascend to power and galvanize an audience. It was also done to demonize political opponents and, frankly, an entire political identity. Even though Jeffrey Epstein is literally on record as saying Donald Trump was his best friend, they ignore that. The entire point of Epstein was that he is going to unravel Hollywood. He's going to get Bill Gates. He's going to, you name it. He was going to undo all of that. It was a cudgel that was used to further polarize the American electorate and to demonize half of it. And now you expect everyone to walk away with this cockamamie bullshit ass answer? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. These people can't govern effectively. They can't craft legislation effectively. They can't get it prioritized effectively. They can't do proper media effectively. They can't do anything other than agitate around either conspiracy theories or things that are true, but with conspiratorial language, and then deliver on resolving it through effective governance and transparency. Transparency is the enemy of people like this. Make no mistake about it. Transparency is what they hate. They can't stand it. They can't live under it. They literally cannot accept that as a condition of governance. And I'm not talking like radical transparency. I'm talking basic transparency. I'm talking about the kind of transparency that they promised. That's what they can't even do. They can't even deliver on the very thing that helped them ascend to power, core campaign promises at the highest levels. President, vice president, senators, media, lackeys, all the way on down. They can't do it. Why on earth would you trust these people? What is it that they offer that sounds sincere to you? The only thing that they want to feed you is poison. They want to feed you poison about the way they think the world works, and it ain't true. They want to feed you poison about their perceived political opponents, and it ain't true. They want to feed you poison about immigrants. Oh, they're eating dogs and cats. Just shut the fuck up. They're not truth tellers. They're not brave iconoclasts. They're just conspiracy theorists. They're just liars. They're just poison merchants. That's all they are. And the sooner that poison as a movement through electoral politics, through helping people to understand what they represent, the sooner that poison is sent to the dustbin of history, the better off America is going to be. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Please consider giving this a thumbs up as well as liking it. And if you want more of my politics coverage, go to the link in the description box for my Substack. Yes, go to my Substack. We might put a QR code on the screen here as well. Tons of exclusives, interviews, chat functionality with a whole different community over there. Tons of fun stuff. Give it a look.